podcast number 22. My name is Mallory, otherwise known as Just a Dose of Love all around the internet. So you can find me on Instagram, Reddit, Facebook, Ravelry. That's it, under Just a Dose of Love, though I am most active on Instagram. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming to hang out with me again on this bi-weekly, mostly bi-weekly podcast. If you are a new viewer, welcome to the podcast. This video podcast is all about knitting and crafts and just kind of whatever else happens to be going on at the time. I'm filming on May 25th. It is a Saturday and it's about 3 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon. Clearly it's p.m. And yeah, I'm filming in Edmonton where I live with my favorite felines, Asika Sonia, Chris Connor, and a snake named Heidi. So with all of that out of the way, I'm just going to dive right into what's on my needles before I mess up my intro again, because that was at least 3 times. So what is on my needles right now? Not much, and I'll tell you why later. But I will show you what I do have on the go. So first work in progress is my Coziest Memory Blanket by Kemper Way. And I've done, for sure 1 square since last podcast. It feels like this podcast came up so quick from last time. But it has been a full 2 weeks. Anyways, I'm just going to show you what my Coziest Memory Blanket looks like so far. So starting at one end here, I did kind of mess up. I had a really hard time reading the instructions trying to figure out which side I was starting my second row from, and this is the wrong side. So I have 1 square on the second row on that side, and it goes all the way here. I'm kind of trying to make it so it goes through the colors of the rainbow. And that's kind of where I left off on my second row because I didn't have my extra yellow with me. Gotta find that and put it in my bag. Got all my ends tied up at the top there because I had been weaving in my ends as I was going along, and then I found that I really wish I had some ends left over for these, let's see, where the squares all meet, because then I could have tied it a little tighter together, because on some of them there's a little bit of a hole in the middle. Although I have been just kind of picking up an extra stitch on each side and doing a double increase on the first row there, so I don't have so much of a hole. But I learned my lesson. I'm now tying my ends instead of weaving them in, so that I have a couple just to mediate that whole issue. And we kind of run through the rainbow here into the blues, the purples, and I started a 3rd row here at the end with my purple and, well, I guess it's more like a pink and a red, because I didn't have the yellow with me. So that is where I'm at with my Coziest Memories blanket. I did a ton of work on it just before last podcast, and I haven't really done too much with it since then. But I think it's coming along rather nicely. One of my goals for this year was to have 1 square done on this per week, so that will be 52 squares by the end of the year. And I do think I'm pretty on track, although I haven't done an actual reconciliation of that yet. I will pretty soon, probably the end of the month I will be doing that, just because that'll be almost halfway through the year. And it'll just be a little easier for me to count it all at that point instead of counting every single week. Anyways, I'm blabbering. The other work in progress that I have on my needles right now, and I've done no work on this, I'm just showing this for the sake of keeping it top of mind for myself and anyone who hasn't seen last podcast. So this is hardly the start of a sock. This is, which side is the wrong side here? There we go. So this is my Irish Guild pattern. It was my St. Patrick's Day sock release, and it is on the avocado colorway on the Cascade. It's a Cascade Yarns on their Heritage base. So it's a 75-25 superwash merino nylon yarn. So it's perfect for socks with that nylon. Gives it a little more strength. and that merino is going to keep my feet nice and toasty. But I've done no work on it, so that's where I'm at. Mostly showing you just for the sake of, again, keeping it top of my mind. So that's where I'm at with that. So normally I would show you what I'm drinking right now, but since we're only like 4 minutes into the podcast, I'm going to hop into actually what's off my needles, and that is the exciting thing this week. I, in case you didn't see, have officially finished my first sweater, and I'm wearing it right now. And by the way, it is really hot in here. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to show off sweaters. I'm super stoked. This is my first sweater. I am very excited that it's finished, and I'm really excited to wear it. Now, it is a little bit bigger than I had anticipated, and I was throwing around the idea of possibly trying to shrink it a little bit, but I am too much of a coward for that, and I feel like it's cozy and comfy just the way it is, so why bother ruining a good thing? If it does end up getting a little bit more baggy and just stretched over the course of me wearing it, you know, in the next couple of years, then maybe I'll take a look at the possibilities of shrinking it just a little bit at that point, but at this point I am perfectly content to wear it as is. I'm not going to stand up to show you the whole thing because there's just not a lot of space here, and you won't really be able to see where I won't know what I'm doing anyways, because I can't see what I'm recording. I don't have one of the nice little flippy screens. Maybe that'll be in the works eventually when I get a new camera, but for now. So let me just show it to you. The sleeves are a bit longer than I was thinking, although my arms are a little bit shorter than average. So here's my sleeve. Now I could wear it with the cuffs there rolled up, and then it's almost the perfect length. There. But I do like a little bit of baggy sleeve. My hands get really cold in the winter. It's also got a cowl neck and some nice little drawstrings. I did twisted rib on the sleeves, or on the cuffs and on the bottom instead of just a 1x1 rib, because I do like the way that twisted rib looks a lot better, and it just, I'm really on a twisted rib kick right now. So that's where we're at with that. This is knit out of Cloudborne yarn. It's the sky blue colorway, and it's on the worsted twist base, and I believe it is, yeah it is, it's 100% superwash merino. Now originally this yarn I had gotten for the tea leaf sweater. By Bristol Ivy. The tea leaf sweater by Bristol Ivy for the tea leaf sweater knit along, and I did a bunch of work on it. I was about 3/4 of the way through one of the sleeves, and as I was knitting it, it's a great pattern. I just didn't really think, I couldn't really see myself wearing it. And then in January, maybe the beginning of this year, I saw someone's finished ease sweater on Reddit, and I absolutely fell in love with it, and I wanted to make one for myself. And I had all this yarn kicking around in this sweater that I wasn't going to wear. So I frogged it all back and started on the ease sweater, and I am very happy with it. Note to myself though, my project notes on Ravelry, there are none for this sweater, so I will likely be making some of those because I did make a couple of adjustments while I was knitting it. I knitted the large size for the bust and for the hips, and the smaller size for the waist, just based on the way the finished measurements were looking, that would fit best, and I think that's correct actually. One thing I would change though is I would change up the yarn that I used if I were to make this version of the ease sweater again. I do have a stash of fingering weight yarn that I think I might use to make the fingering version of the ease sweater, but for the worsted weight, I think I would like to make this sweater again, and I would like to do it in a yarn that has a little bit more of a tighter ply, if that makes sense. I don't think I used the correct terminology there, but the twist on this yarn is quite loose. And I'll show you. So the twist on this yarn is quite loose, so it's not as dense as I would have liked. So it's a really nice airy sweater for summer, but in the winter I'm gonna have to wear something else with longer sleeves underneath it, like I don't know, just a tight long sleeve shirt, because it is gonna be a little bit airy. And yeah, if I want a winter sweater, that's what I'll do. This is going to be a good spring, fall, possibly cold summer night festival sweater. But if/when I do decide to reknit it, it will be with something that's a little more twisted and just a heavier worsted yarn. I feel like that's not making any sense. A good example would be Malabrigo, their Rio Space. That would kind of be pretty much what I'm looking for. Or the worsted base that Amy over at What's Up Yarn Co. she has. It's very similar to the Rios, and that's kind of what I would be looking at, or that type of yarn for this sweater again. Anyways, there I go rambling again. I do want to mention though, my gauge was pretty on as per the pattern, so maybe I would knit it a little bit smaller, or I would knit the size down on the different sizes that I did use, because my gauge was actually pretty on, and it is a little bit bigger than I was expecting it to be. So here's that. Overall, incredibly happy. I wore it to work yesterday. No one noticed, which means I guess it doesn't look like I made it myself. I'm gonna take that as a compliment. Yeah, I'm gonna take it as a compliment, and I would consider that a success. So, well done. Good job, me. Pat on the back. Alright, now I'm gonna tell you what I'm drinking, because I have a new cup. A new knitting cup. Oh my gosh, look at this. Okay. Today was the Edmonton Fiber Frolic. I think. That is the name, right? Ooh. Fiber Frolic, Fiber Festival, Fiber Shindig. These are all possible names, but I'm pretty sure it's the Edmonton Fiber Frolic. That's embarrassing. I really should know that. Anyways, today was the Edmonton Fiber Frolic, which is why I'm recording on Saturday and not Thursday like I normally would, because I wanted to show you all the new yarns that I got, because I knew I was going to get some. I also got a cup. Here is my new cup. It is made by Chasing Fire Studios, and I believe they're based out of Calgary. Yes. Yeah, okay. So, I have another knit mug that I really love, and this one, I've been eyeing up their Instagram for a little while because they make some pretty neat looking mugs. And they've got like cables and knitting, and I just had to have one. So good. Yes, absolutely in love. And they were lovely people as well. Absolutely lovely. I'm drinking some coffee with a little bit of pumpkin spice cream liqueur, as, you know, I kind of do on Saturdays. And it's delicious, and I'm really happy with my mug. And basically, life is so good right now. Went to the Fiber Festival, got a new mug. If you can hear people over there, it's because Connor's mom and brother are down from BC, and they're visiting. Later, we're going to go to the Ukrainian Heritage Festival, which is over at Borton Park. It's not too far from my house, and I think I'm going to eat some pierogies, because it's the Ukrainian Heritage Festival. You have to eat pierogies. Okay. That was got way off track there. Okay. Let's do a quick time check before we head on to the next section. 2 minutes. Alright, so I'm going to stop it now, and I will be right back. Alright, so I had a bit of a brief moment of panic because when I went to hit record again, it wasn't focusing on the area that my face would be in, and I was worried that I was going to be a talking fuzzy head again with that autofocus disaster of an episode we had that one time. But I did a quick check and it does look like the video was focused where it was supposed to be on the last recording. So fingers crossed that that is not going to be an issue and I didn't just happen to land on a good spot. Okay, where were we? Upcoming and current items of note. So, just so everyone knows, the Love Note hat pattern is being tested right now by the wonderful Amy over at Happy Little Yarns, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to turn out. I saw a sneak peek in one of the photos that she posted on her Instagram, and I think it's going to look really good when it's done. So we're going to the Ukrainian Heritage Festival. They were actually on time. They said they were going to be here around 3 and they were here around 3 and I was really hoping they were going to be just a little bit late because now they're waiting on me. Oops! Sorry. Okay. So yes, that is in testing right now. I anticipate releasing it within the next month for sure. So keep an eye out for that. And the Great Podcaster Craft Together, as always, it is a year-long craft together. If you watch a podcast, a knitting podcast, a podcast period, you are eligible to join in this year-long craft together. And basically what happens is it's the whole idea is to finish works that you have in progress. And I don't know about you, but, well, I guess I don't really have too many on the go right now, do I? Maybe that's working for me then. Ooh! I will have more information in the show notes below if you are interested, and please feel free to check out the Ravelry group if you would like to partake. There are prizes every single month, so it is never too late to join, and I think it would be a lot of fun to have more friendly faces in that Ravelry group. So, yeah, check it out. Okay, so, stash enhancement. This is the exciting part. Actually, it's all exciting. Let's be real. It's all exciting. I think maybe I just have a soft spot in my heart for new yarn because it is so full of potential and it's so pretty to look at and squish and you can make things out of it. There really isn't anything better. No. Alright, so I'm going to run through my new squishies from today. The first one, this is I Crushed Your Grapes, You're Welcome. That's the colorway name, and it's by Dye For You, spelled E-W-E. It is a 100% superwash merino worsted. I was really on a worsted search today because I'm thinking hats, fingerless gloves. I have a lot of fingering weight yarn already. Not that I don't have a lot of worsted, but I was on a hunt for worsted today. So, there we go. So yes, this is 110 grams actually. That's exciting. And you gotta look at her cute little logo. It's a sheep with like rainbow socks, I think. Yeah, rainbow socks. That's adorable. There were so many neat people there today. I wish that I was more personable and less awkward about going and saying hi. Because so many neat people, so many creative minds, I think that would have been really neat to meet some in person. But also, I panic sometimes, so maybe not. Second one. This is by Gingersnap. She was actually sponsoring the Fiber Frolic today, so that's really neat. This is her crushed colorway. It's on her worsted base, and it's 100% superwash merino. And this one is 115 grams. Let me tell you, how exciting is that? All of the yarns that I got today were actually more than 100 grams, except for the mini skein, which, I mean, clearly, it's a mini skein. What else would you expect? And I was on a bit of a purple kick today, apparently. Purple. And this, I think, is going to make a very nice hat for myself. Or fingerless gloves. Or, who knows, I might even find another interesting pattern that I fall in love with and decide I have to make. I was really drawn to the neon pops in this colorway. I think it plays really well off the gray, and yeah, it just kind of drew me in. She's got a lot of really nice yarns too. She's got well, she's like a crazy crafter. She dyes yarn, she makes project bags, she has stitch markers galore, she's got progress keepers. Like, there's nothing this lady doesn't do, and there's nothing she doesn't do well. So, worth checking out. Okay. Next one. This one was in the 25% off bin because she's no longer making this colorway. So this is the Peach Pit colorway by Lily and Pine, and it's on the Daylily sock base. So that's an 80-20 superwash merino nylon yarn, and it's 115 grams, 140 yards-ish. And yeah, not only was it on sale, it's very pretty, and it is something I would absolutely make socks out of. I think this is going to be a really nice spring-themed sock, or maybe I'll make them in the dead of winter when the pinks will really cheer me up. There it is again. It's got these speckles, browns, just a beautiful yarn overall. Also, I just want to say her label, this is like the sturdiest label I've ever seen on yarn. It is a very nice heavyweight paper. It's almost like a linen texture, if you've seen like those linen textured business cards. Not linen like the fabric, but linen textured paper. I just sound like a crazy person, but it's a thing. I wish I could explain it better than that. Very nice label. The next one, ooh, okay. We're going in order here. I am bad at being in order. I love all of these yarns that I got today. Here's another one. It's kind of got like a marshy feel to it. It's just all of these different green combinations and some browns and some orange speckles. It is the Avery colorway by Fiddly Dye Works. And this is 100% superwash merino. It's again a worsted, and it's a 115 gram ball, because what kind of lucky girl am I? All of these are just like huge balls of yarn. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, control yourself. I'm not crazy. I swear I'm not crazy. I just really like squishies. Okay, the next one. And I just have to say, first of all, I absolutely fell in love with her logo, and then I fell in love with this yarn, and I just had to have it. This is going to make me a very nice hat. A very nice hat. So, this is Knittin yarns. And look, it's a cat with a yarn ball. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that's very similar to my Knittin Kitten not idea or logo. It's just my Knittin Kitten logo also has a cat and yarn, and this has a smiling cat and yarn, and no wonder I love it so much. It's like all the things I love. There it is. So this is a single ply worsted, and it's the Peacock colorway, so it's got these greens and purples and some hints of blue as well. Nope, there's not just hints of blue, there's a lot of blue. There it is. There it is. And this is, again, 100% superwash merino nylon. Merino wool, not merino nylon. Superwash merino wool. And, by the way, it says hand-dyed in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Oh yeah, we have some crazy talented people around here. I am just, yeah, I was so stoked to meet all of these people today. I just wish I was less awkward about talking to them. Okay. Last one. I got a cute little mini. So this is a cute little mini. It's the Timber colorway by Vivid Yarn Studios. So it's a 75-25 superwash merino nylon, and it's a 20 gram mini. And I got it actually specifically with this in mind. So I got this, oh, I don't know if it was the Comb Fiber Festival or last year's Edmonton Fiber Frolic, but this is Poppy Yarn and Fiber, and it's the Hesperides, 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 not sure how to say that, on the Genghis sock base, and it's a interesting mix actually. It's 70% superwash merino, 20% yak, 10% nylon. It's a 100 gram ball. So I was thinking these would make a really nice sock and heel-toe color combination. Yeah. Actually, along with the Fiddly Die Works yarn I got to pick 2 stitch markers. So I got a hexagon one and a square one, and that's by, who's this? Riv.Creative. So I believe they're out of Vancouver. I thought it was really cute. I can't wait to use these. I'm totally going to use these. I love geometric shapes, especially on stitch markers. I'm getting really warm. Okay. Last new thing. I was watching Amy's podcast, the Happy Little Yarn podcast, and she showed a pattern that she's working on, and I need to make this. Now, first of all, the model in the picture makes the picture, but also I really would like to make this hood. Not just because of the model, but because I think it's going to be a really nice hood for Chris to wear to festivals. So this is the Longbow hood, cowl mix thing, and it's by Rhiannon McCulloch. So this, actually, I was looking today specifically for 3 balls of a worsted green-ish color, and I found some that I fell in love with over at Allison Barnes' booth. She's also a local to me dyer, and it's called the Come Together colorway. Unfortunately, she didn't have any in the worsted base, so I did message her to see how I can go about buying 3 skeins of this, of that colorway, so I can make this, because I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. And those greens are just absolutely Chris's colors, so fingers crossed that all pans out. And since I am holding everyone up here, I'm going to cut it here, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks. I hope you have an absolutely stellar weekend. Stay safe, stay warm, or cool if it is freaking hot outside like it is here. And stay wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me again for the 22nd episode of the Knittin Kitten podcast. I will see you in 2 weeks.